Me, it's Queen Oset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. All right, guys. So I got a message from a woman. It's a very unusual situation. I haven't heard this situation very many times. Only like 4 times in the whole time that I've been doing readings have I heard about this. So I'm gonna give you my opinion, and we're gonna go from there. This young lady is 30 years old, and she was taking care of a relative who was sickly, and during that time spent most of her time apparently taking care of that relative. She didn't do any dating, and she's 30 years old and she is a virgin, and she's scared of running off potential lovers because of this fact. And she's like, should I try or should I just give up? Now, the first thing I want to say is that being a 30-year-old virgin is really fucking cool, because that means that you have saved something that's so precious to share potentially with a special person one day. So I think that's amazing. If I were you, I would keep my virginity until I got married. That's number one. Because if I could turn back time, that's what I would have did. I would have stayed a virgin until I really found somebody that I was seriously into. But I was so young and stupid to even realize that that was a thing. So if I were you, I would keep that. I would keep that until the day I got married. Seriously. Second of all, you shouldn't be scared of running off potential lovers. You are going to meet all kinds. You're going to meet suitors who are not into that, because especially if you tell them I don't want to be intimate until I'm married, you will have some suitors that will not be willing to stick around. You'll have some who will try to stick around just to change your mind. You'll have some that'll try to basically wear you down. You'll have some that may try to even sexually assault you. So you have to be very, very careful in that kind of way. But I would not just say, forget it, I'm never going to know love, I'm just going to stay a virgin forever. I wouldn't do that. What I would do personally is, yes, I would say I'm going to keep my virginity for marriage. Yeah, I would say that. But also, I would take my time, because see, this is the problem that you have. Your problem is that you don't know the game. And it's a lot of game out here, baby. It's a lot of game. It's a lot of game players. It's good people. It's bad people. It's people that you think are good who are going to be in sheep's clothing, wolves in sheep's clothing. It's people that are going to come off bad, but they deep down inside are actually pretty decent. You're going to see a lot of game, a lot of deception, a lot of treachery, a lot of selfishness. It's a lot of that in the dating game. It is. So you don't know the game. You haven't seen the game. You haven't watched the game. So a lot of things you may be naive to. So if I were you, I would go straight old fashioned. I would date, and I would not go privately with anyone. I would just date. We'd be in public places all the time. I would meet you at the movies. I'd meet you at a restaurant. I'll meet you at the bowling alley. I'll meet you at the skating rink. I would meet my date out and about. I would not tell them where I lived. I would not be alone with them, because that's an invitation to something going wrong, such as them trying to force themselves on you, or such as you feeling like, he's a nice guy, why not? And then he have sex with you and never hear from him again. So it could be something that could be detrimental to you. That's why I said I wouldn't play that game. I would just go out, like I said, publicly. I would always be in public places, and I would date like that. And another thing I would do is I would learn myself. I would get into my own hobbies, whatever your hobbies are. And if you don't have any hobbies, I would find some. Because 9 times out of 10, people who have relationships that are compatible meet each other doing things that they both enjoy. So they meet each other skiing. They meet each other playing frisbee. They meet each other a day at the beach. They meet each other doing things they both enjoy, and then they start doing those things together. So you should definitely explore your own interests. because that'll be a door opening to meet somebody who has the same interest. So, like I said, you have a very unusual case, but that doesn't mean you should just give up and say, hey, I'm never going to date anybody, and just be afraid and, hang out under your mattress. You see, you just got to be careful. You have to use your head and you have to be careful. And because, like I said, you've never seen much of, the game that's going on, you're not stupid. Even though you've never seen it before or heard it before or played it before, you're not stupid. And most of the time, your gut instincts is going to tell you when there's a problem. You just have to get really skilled at listening to your gut. So if I were you, I would do something like there's a web page called meetup.com, and a lot of people I know have used Meetup to meet people. They have singles events, they have wine tastings, they have cooking classes, they have hikes, they have like all kinds of different various things. So if you're trying to see your hobbies and what you're into, that's a really good way. You can go on meetup.com. I think it's in almost every major city and maybe some of the non-major cities as well by now. And you go to meetup.com, you punch in your zip code, and they tell you what meetups are near your home or near the zip code that you punched in. And then you can see what they have for singles and go to those kinds of events. You see? Dress up real pretty, go to those kind of events, have a good time. And remember what I said, keep things public. Keep them public, And then when you meet somebody that you're really feeling, be his friend. Be his platonic friend all the way to the aisle. That's what I would do. Wasn't it Sierra and her husband, Russell Wilson? They just did exactly the same thing. They stayed, friends or whatever the case was. And according to them, I wasn't there, but they said they never had sex until they got married. I am a big, a big champion for this idea. And I think this would be a great idea for your particular situation. And once you meet someone that you're really into, date them platonically for a while, 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years. Like really date them, really get to know them, really be around, hang out, talk, And when you guys are ready to make a serious commitment, go ahead, get engaged, get married, and go and get. Usually at that point, let's say you waited 18 months and you got engaged. Then you would get married maybe a couple months later, something like that. And then there you are. You have your person. So that's what I would do. And if I didn't meet anybody I liked, I would just keep my virginity and keep being friendly and getting to know people and that kind of thing. My biggest thing for you is be careful. Don't be afraid, but be careful. Two different things. Fear will stop you from even trying. I'm not saying don't try. I think it's a great idea for you to try. But I'm saying don't be out there just not paying attention, not listening to your gut, not listening to what people are saying. Like really pay attention. Because like I said, there's some good people and there's some not so good people. So allow yourself an opportunity to get to know people. Don't just, shut yourself off because it's too hard or it's too scary. I would never say that. You may meet somebody that you really, really like. You may meet somebody that you want to be with. So if it was me in this particular unique case, that's what I would do. I wouldn't give up, but I would be very cautious. And like I said, I would keep my legs closed. You done kept this precious gift all this time. You might as well hold on to it. You might as well hold on to it and let the right person who earns it, who deserves it. Because one thing about sex that people have a tendency not to realize is that sex is not just physical. It's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. It's the bonding of two energies. And if you are somebody who's never experienced that before, it could be like tasting crack for the first time, You could become quite addicted to it. Or the exact opposite. You never quite know with sex how you're going to respond to it. But you'll always respond better to it when you're with somebody that you have a real connection with. When you're with somebody that really cares about you. There are so many people out there who are just looking to use people for sex. It happens every day with men and women. Is people out there that somebody said in the comments section they just want to masturbate on you, and that's very true. It's lots of people like that. Lots of people that are sex addicts. Lots of people that just want to use you for sex, basically. So I would suggest being very careful, and I would suggest allowing yourself to slowly but surely get to know that part of life, the dating part of life. It can be fun. I had a lot of fun when I was dating, but I asked a lot of questions of my elders. I talked about things to people who had been in those situations. And you want to do those kind of things. You want to talk to people who know. If something doesn't sound right to you, you want to ask people who are fairly intelligent, and, people who've been through that kind of thing before. Come back to Ask an Aquarius and put it in my box and ask me. I'll be glad to answer it for you. You want to talk and you want to think and you want to get people who are more seasoned in this particular area to give you their opinions when things happen. Don't move too fast. Be really patient, and you could have a really good experience. Okay? All right. So it's time for me to get going. Thank you for your question. Now, everybody, if you're interested in getting a reading, please email me, and I'll be happy to give you an appointment. If you would like to become one of my patrons on Patreon, please check underneath this video and you'll see how to do that. You'll also see underneath there how to get in touch with me on social media, how to send me a love donation, how to send me a gift, and I think that's it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to someone else who might be interested in this same situation. See you later.